And we're going to get started. All right. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. My name is Erin Oliveira. I am teaching a class on endocrine disruptors today. So I will also be sending you the recording. So if there's something that you missed and you have a question about, you can ask questions, or you can rewatch the recording if you missed something. And you can also email me and ask any questions that you might have in response to the recording I send. Now let's see if I can find this. All right. Okay, so here's just an overview of what we're going to go over. We're going to go over what are endocrine disruptors, what is the endocrine system, and why is it important. The dirty dozen, which is 12 ingredients that are the dirtiest ingredients you can think of. Common items that you will find those ingredients in, how to reduce your exposure to them, an option for you to ask any questions, and then I'll talk about my next class. All right, so what are endocrine disruptors? First of all, did you know that the average woman uses 12 different products daily on their body containing over 168 different chemicals? So we don't realize that every single thing that we put on our body affects us. And each product has something different in it. And in the US, we only ban 11 chemicals from cosmetics, which is insane to me. And in Europe, they ban over 1,300 chemicals, which how is the US so far behind? I don't know. But that's why it's so important for us to be aware of what's in our products. So endocrine disruptors, basically, they interfere with the way that our bodies work. They'll mimic the hormones that we already have, and they trick our body into thinking that they are hormones, but they're not. They're not, like, they just mess with us. So they block that natural hormone from doing the job that our body needs. Endocrine disruptors also, they'll increase or decrease your level of hormones in your blood by affecting how they're made, broken down, and how it's stored in the body. And it can really change how sensitive our bodies are to different hormones. So it's very, very important that we are aware of these endocrine disruptors so that we're not wreaking havoc on our body just by the everyday things that we are using. So let's just look at the endocrine system. It's made up of so many different glands. We have the thyroid gland that also has the parathyroid gland in there, the thymus, the adrenal glands, the testicles, the ovaries, pancreas. In your brain, you have the pineal gland, the pituitary gland, and the hypothalamus. So that's a lot of organs and things in our body that can be affected. So it's super, super important to pay attention. So basically, these are chemical messengers created by the body. So it's transferring information from like one cell to another to coordinate the functions of different parts of your body. So it really helps control your mood, your growth, development, your metabolism, and basically how your organs work. And reproduction is another big one that it really affects. So people don't realize that. I cannot believe I used to say this, like, oh, I don't care what's in my products. We're all going to get cancer at some point. Like, I can't even believe that I used to say that, but that was before I was aware, before I knew all the things that were in our products, and started educating myself and really paying attention. Honestly, it didn't start until after I had my child, which is sad. But now I am very passionate about it. So let's talk about the top 12 endocrine disruptors. BPA. Now, this is added to commercial products. You'll find this in plastic. You'll see, like, on water bottles, it'll say BPA free. It's also in epoxy resins that are used on, like, the inner linings of your canned foods. So that's why it's really important to try and eat things that are not canned. You want fresh. You're going to get obviously more nutrients from that, but then also you're not going to get any of that BPA that's seeping into your food. Dioxin, so this is environmental pollutants, and this is produced mainly from, like, industrial activities, like gases, different plants when they release things into the air, probably also, like, your exhaust from your car, all of those things. You have atrazine, and this is a herbicide product that they use in corn crops. And if you have done any, like heard anything about corn, corn is one of the largest crops like in America, and they use it for everything. So it's in the corn. So that's a really, really bad one. But it also contaminates your drinking water, which is super, super important to make sure that you are drinking filtered water. I love my Berkey system. It has, it's like changed the way I drink water now. So that's another big one. Phthalates. So this is used in plastics, and they don't chemically bind to the PVC in the plastic, and it basically leaches into your food and into the air. But it's also, they put them in your products as well. Like it's in a lot of personal care products. So when you're looking at your ingredients, you want to make sure they don't have that. Perchlorate. So this is contaminants. This contaminates our produce and our milk, and it can also be found in our water. Number 6 is flame retardants, and it's super important. A lot, like it's not as bad now, but before they used to put flame retardants on everything. Couches, your mattresses, and then you sleep on that and you are breathing that in. So it could be in your TVs, and it's found in consumer products. I remember there were some issues with like, they were putting it on like baby clothes. Like people were noticing that it was like in, like if you smell, they would smell it and it just smelled horrible. It's like, why would you want to put your child in that? So flame retardants is another one. Lead. And a lot of people know that lead is very bad. This is found in a lot of old paint. So you have to be very careful. Basically, you inhale the particles and it's very, very dangerous. And arsenic. Arsenic is another one that you'll find, like sometimes it's in your food and also in your drinking water. Mercury. So this is a toxic metal that's most often like led into the air by burning coal, but it can also be found in your seafood. So you have to be careful about the type of seafood you're eating, because that could be a possibility in there. Perfluorinated chemicals. So these are man-made chemicals that basically they put on the inside of your non-stick pans. They can be found in certain textiles, like your leather, and like water resistant apparel, rubber, and plastics. So you want to be very careful about that. I know for me, I have gone away from the non-stick pans, and I really, really like my cast iron. And I know at first it was like, I was like, I don't know what is the seasoning thing? How do I take care of it? But now I love it, and it's so much easier. And I know that I'm using something that's safer for our family. Number 11 is organophosphate pesticides. These are basically, this is what they put in your crops. That's why it's very, very important that you are eating organic or maybe homegrown vegetables, because, and it's also very, very important that you are washing your fruits and vegetables with something that is going to get that off and clean them, because we never know what's going to be on them. Even they say organic, it's very important to still wash them. So number 12 is the glycol ethers. And these are also man-made chemicals, and they're basically solvents. They use them in like products for your personal hair, personal products, household and industrial products. And it kind of like, it's used in the product to like make it work better or stay together. So that's a big one that's bad for you as well. Are there any questions on those? You can always type in the chat if you have a question, and I can just answer them. So here's some common places that you're going to find them. Number 1, personal care products. That's where you'll find a lot of the phthalates, the glycol. The other one that I talked about, drinking water. So we don't realize what's in it. So filtering your water is super important. And I have to say, like, it's not always necessarily great to buy bottled water because they don't always take care of that and filter it the way that it could be. canned food, like I talked about, that's where the BPA is a big one. And I know nowadays other plastics, they aren't using it, but I know that in canned food, that's another thing that it could be in. We talked about your produce, making sure that it's grown conventionally, because it can contain industrial runoff. There's pesticides and there's also herbicides in there. And then, like I talked about, the kitchen products, so those plastic containers, that's why it's very important, one, not to use plastic in the microwave. Okay, if you are putting your plastic in the microwave, the plastic is going into your food. Okay, so also do not microwave your styrofoam because with your food in it. I know people like reheat their food, but that's going to affect you as well. That's going into your food. So that's a big no-no. And then your cleaning products. And that's a big one. Everything that you use at home, you are spraying that and you are inhaling it, and it has things in it that are not safe, that's going straight into your body. You're also walking on it or touching it with your hands. So your cleaning products and laundry detergent, that's a big one, because you wash your clothes in your laundry detergent and you put it on your body, and then you walk around in it all day. So that's a big one. One thing I didn't really talk about, but is the fragrances, and fragrances are a big one as well, because there is no regulation really for fragrances. It's just the umbrella of fragrance, and they can kind of put whatever they want in there. So it's very, very important to try and get things that are fragrance free, because those are very, very big known irritants to the skin, to your body. And that's why like some people get eczema, they have like breathing issues. So that's a big one. So let's talk about how you can reduce your exposure to them. So avoiding those personal care products. So checking to see if you have phthalates or parabens, because parabens is another one that kind of reaches in. That's not in the dirty dozen, but it's another big one that you want to look at. And then, like I talked about, you want to avoid those fragrances. If you have sunscreen, you want to switch to something that is chemical free, that is not going to have some of those other ingredients in it. You want something that's organic. Triclosan is another one that's not in the dirty dozen, but it's one that's up there. And you want to avoid products with that as well. When you get products that are in packaging with plastic, remove those as quick as possible. Or if you are putting them in a plastic bag, take those out. I know I have reusable, like they're kind of like cloth, not cloth, but like mesh bags that I use when I go to the grocery store to get produce, and I just put it in there. One, I'm not wasting plastic, and two, I put like whatever's on that plastic is not getting onto my fruits and vegetables. And you can get those on Amazon. Buying and eating organic foods, avoiding those beverages with plastic bottles or the canned goods. So many places, you go to the airport, you go to different places, they have water filter systems that you can just bring your own water bottle in and refill it. One, you're not having to recycle all the time, so you're saving the planet that way. And two, you're not getting that the stuff that's on that plastic bottle into your water. Replacing old furniture that may have been sprayed with the flame retardant, minimizing the amount of makeup that you use, or switch to something that's organic or like safe, that doesn't have those ingredients. Some vegan companies, a lot of vegan companies, they don't have a lot of those ingredients, like the animal ingredients, but then also they are careful about the ingredients that are in their products. So makeup's another big one. And then using a vacuum that seals up the dirt, it picks up, so it seals it. So like if you're picking up things, the dust and all of that, you don't know what's in there. Okay, and if it's not sealing it, like it can basically just come back out. You're going to inhale that, which is dangerous for you. Okay, are there any questions on any of those things that I talked about? I feel like I flew through them. I talk kind of fast sometimes, so I was a little concerned. But if there's any questions, you can type them in the chat. I do have another class in 2 weeks. I'm going to be talking about safe cleaning products because that is one of the big things that you will find ingredients in that are unsafe and harmful chemicals. So I'm going to be talking about my top favorite cleaning products that I use. And that is Wednesday, the 26th at 7 p.m. If you already you registered for this class, obviously, because you received the Zoom link, you'll get a reminder about this next class as well. And then you'll also receive the recording. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming to my class. If you aren't following me on Instagram, I do a lot of hormone education on there. So you can follow me, erin.oil.rivera. And I share a lot of information there as well. So if there's not any other questions, I'm going to go ahead and stop recording and stop share. Let me find the record button.